Haribol. We are hearing Bhagavad Gita about Bhakti Yoga. We heard last time, know do, O Arjuna, that pure love is the eternal function of the pure soul, entirely devoted to me. It requires constant practice to realize this. But if thou, O Dhananjaya, canst not concentrate on me with firm and steady mind, as was stated in previous verse, then seek to realize me by Abhyas Yoga, which consists in the constant retraction or withdrawal of the mind from worldly affairs and its concentration on me, the Supreme Lord. 1 second. And we also heard the force of the term Dhananjaya in the above shloka is that Arjuna has conquered his foes and acquired riches. He is now to conquer his mind, the greatest of foes, and acquire the wealth of concentration on the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Dhananjaya means one who won other kings and got wealth. That is, Kshatriyas, they are doing this. But now Arjuna is to become this type of Dhananjaya, to conquer his own mind by repeated practice of devotion. And when he will conquer mind and get fixation of mind to the object of worship, Shri Krishna, or concentration on him, then he will get actual wealth, which is Krishna Prema. So we heard from Prahlad Maharaj, when his father asked Prahlad, why you are not afraid of me? Everyone is afraid of me. I conquer the three worlds, upper, middle, and lower. Everyone is afraid of me. I conquered everyone. Why you are not afraid of me? Then Prahlad Maharaj said, oh father, what did you conquer? You didn't even conquer your mind. Because when one is under the control of mind, he will see like this. Some are friends, some are enemies. Some are foreigners, some are our own people, some are relatives, some like this. But one who conquered his mind, he can see relation with Krishna. He has a relation with Krishna, and all others are also related to Krishna. And we are all interrelated as brothers and sisters of the same Father, God. So, oh Father, you did not even conquer the mind. Actually, there is no enemy. Enemy is only our mind when not under control, because it will lead us to wrong directions which will give us suffering. So you kindly please give up this demoniac mentality and worship Supreme Lord. Prahlad Maharaj requested Father, but Father could not accept. But Prahlad was not disturbed because he did his duty. He tried to explain to his father 3 times, but his father's samskaras were like that he was unable to accept. But Prahlad did his duty for the satisfaction of Krishna, and even his son Virochan Prahlad tried to explain to him and send him to proper school, and by his own example and by instructions, advice, everything, he tried to make him devotee, but Virochan could not. But Prahlad was not disturbed because of that, because he has no any other desire except the service of Krishna. We should serve Krishna without being attached to the fruits of our. By serving Krishna, we will be happy, not by fruits. I have to collect so many disciples, I have to convert so many. No, our duty is to serve Krishna. We can try, but every jiva has her own sanskaras, previous impressions, and their own karma and their relative independence, free will, and also sukriti or dushkriti, so many things. We may try, but he may accept or not. But it is our duty to try, to help. That will satisfy Krishna. So he was fully satisfied, Prahlad, not disturbed, because no any other separate desire. So Prahlad Maharaj told, there is no enemy except our uncontrolled mind. And before, already Arjuna in 6th chapter said to Krishna, this seems very difficult for me to conquer mind. He has such power, we read all those qualities of mind, so I think it is impossible. Then Krishna said, yes, it is difficult, but not impossible. It can be done by repeated practice of attachment to Krishna and detachment from non-eternal things. Then gradually one can conquer mind, because our bad habit is from long time. So it takes some time to change that. Our forgetfulness of Krishna, aversion to Krishna, that is since long time. So suddenly it is very difficult. So in previous verse, Krishna told you, concentrate on me, but it is not possible for us. Our mind goes here and there. So here Krishna says, by Abhyas Yoga, constant retraction or withdrawal of the mind from worldly affairs and its concentration on me, the Supreme. So that is sadhana, practice, or penance, austerity, or like treatment, like taking medicine. When you get that jaundice, then everything you taste is bitter, because bitterness is on your tongue. Even if you take sugar candy, you will taste it bitter. You don't like to take it. But that sugar cane juice is the only medicine to cure that disease. So you have to take it as a medicine based on faith that it is beneficial. And the more you take it, the more your disease is removed. And then also you can taste the sweetness. So like that, sadhana is not pleasant immediately, because it is like a medicine. Later on in Gita, we will see in 18th chapter, Krishna says that happiness, which in the beginning seems like poison, but the consequence is nectar, is happiness in the mode of goodness, because you have to control your senses and mind, and that is not pleasant. You cannot enjoy unrestrictedly things. But if you can do this penance, then you will realize yourself, your Atma. Then you will get nectar. But then Krishna says, but that happiness, which immediately in the beginning it seems like nectar, but consequence is poison, that is happiness in the mode of passion, means sense gratification. Immediately we get result, pleasure. In sadhana, when you have to control your mind, and you will not immediately get result. Result will come later, that nectar. But here immediately you will get happiness. Because sense gratification, just you touch that object of sense and you get pleasure. But if you go on doing that, then ultimately consequence is poison because of attachment and reaction to that enjoyment. And then in the mode of ignorance, it is in the beginning it is unhappiness, in the end also it is unhappiness. At all phases it is unhappiness. To do sinful activities and all this. So it is not in the beginning. Also that Katha Upanishad speaks about Shreya and Preya path. Preya means this pleasure, hedonism. Shreya means eternal welfare. So Preya will bound you. Sense gratification will make you bound and you cannot be happy. But Shreya, in the beginning it will seem like poison, but ultimate consequence will be nectar. So for that we have to do sadhana, penance, and like taking medicine. You will not like it, but still you have to take it. Rupa Goswami wrote in that Upadeshamrita that with faith one should hear about Krishna and speak about Krishna's name, form, attributes, all this, taking as a medicine. Then the more this ignorance of aversion to Krishna will be removed, then automatically we can taste at that time, up to that extent. So also in devotional progress, there are different stages. So first there is faith in Krishna. By serving Krishna, we serve all His Supreme Lord. We are all His eternal servants. Then one will like to associate with devotees, sadhu sangha, and then he will accept the best devotee, bona fide guru, as his guide for devotion to Krishna. Then under his direction, he will serve Krishna, what is to be done, what is not to be done, he will accept. Then through that practice, he can remove all those other desires. And when all those other desires, anarthas, will be removed, anartha nibriti, then at that time he can have concentration of mind to Krishna always. Kirtaniya sadahuri, always. So here Krishna knows it is not possible for everyone to have concentration to Krishna immediately, constant remembrance. Some, they have to practice to achieve that. So that is the greatest wealth. Also it happened when Alexander the Great, he was conquering from that Macedonia, conquering everything. And then ultimately he came to India and he met Kalyan Baba there, one yogi. And that Kalyan Baba asked, "Who are you?" Then he said, "I am Alexander the Great. I conquered so many countries." And he told Iran, all those, everything I conquered. That is why I'm great. Then Kalyan Baba, he smiled loudly. You did not even conquer your mind. How you can say you conquered anything? And you are not happy. Person who did not conquer his mind cannot be happy. The only person who conquered mind, he will be in soul consciousness, spiritual consciousness. Then he is peaceful and happy. So that touched Alexander the Great, because this yogi was a realized yogi. And it had an effect on Alexander the Great. It touched his heart. So after that, he did not want to conquer India. And also he stopped fighting elsewhere, and slowly he lost those all things. But this impression which he got, this is more valuable than any of that property, which is anyway we will have to give up at the time of death. We cannot take anything with us. But how much we spiritually progressed, that will remain with us, because Atma is eternal and her progress is eternal. Progress of Atma means, in one sense, liberation from Maya. That is one progress, but actual progress means how much we devoted ourselves to Krishna. Because devotee, one who is devotee of Krishna, he never desires liberation. Never. Because in liberation there is no service of Krishna, and he is a devotee of Krishna. Devoted to Krishna, and he's getting that taste of serving Krishna. So for him, liberation has no any charm. Nothing. It is useless. Without service of Krishna, they don't want anything. Then Krishna further says, Abhyasya martosi mat karma paramo bhava mat artam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Even if thou canst not apply thyself to Abhyas Yoga, then dedicate all thy actions to me. Do all actions, that is to say, hear, chant, worship, greet, cleanse the temple, cull flowers and fruits and offer food, for the gratification of my senses. Then thou shalt surely gain perfection. That is to say, instead of being attached to phenomenal world, thy steadied mind shall always cling to my eternal, beautiful human form. So by doing these forms of devotion, by action, then you will also get this result. You will steady your mind on my eternal, beautiful form. So sadhana bhakti also has different forms and also stages. As we heard from our Gurudev, two persons, they came to Vrindavan and they surrendered to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, our previous Guru, in Guru Parampara, and they surrendered themselves to him and took initiation. And Babaji Maharaj told them, okay, now you came, so now you should work in this garden, you should sow, you should cultivate the land and sow the seeds and cultivate these vegetables. This you do. Then they were surprised. Why? We came here to do bhajan. Why Babaji Maharaj is engaging us in some work? We already left the house. There we were working. We left work, karma. Now we want to do bhajan. Why he's not telling us to sit down and chant and hear Bhagavatam? This is bhajan. Why he's not? But they were afraid to ask Gurudev directly. And they knew Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very dear to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So they came to him, to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and they told, we cannot understand our Gurudev. We left our house. We came here to do bhajan. But Babaji Maharaj is not telling us to sit down and count Mahamantra on beads and hear Bhagavatam. But he's telling us to do work in the garden. We cannot understand. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, oh really? You are so fortunate. I am not that much fortunate. You got direct order from Gurudev. He told you to work in the garden. Your Gurudev, he's not ordinary person. He's a personal associate of Krishna. He's directly serving him. His garden is not ordinary garden. It is meant for the service of Krishna. And those vegetables which you will grow, he will offer to Krishna. In this way, your energy will be spent for the service of Krishna. Out of compassion, he told you to do this work in the garden, knowing fully well about your present situation. That your senses are not under your control. Your mind is not under your control. If at this situation he will tell you to sit down and chant, you will not be able to sit down, and also you will not be able to concentrate. And if he tells you to sit down and hear Bhagavatam, you will not be able to remain awake. You will want to sleep while hearing Harikatha. So out of compassion, he told that you should engage your senses in the work for Krishna. Then your energy will be spent for the service of Krishna, and gradually you can conquer your senses and your mind, and then it will be possible for you to actually chant properly Harinam and properly hear Bhagavatam about Krishna. So everything is according to stage, and bona fide Guru has to know this. This is one of the two necessary qualities of Gurudev, that he has to know all Shastra, purpose of all Shastra, and he must be realized soul, so that he can advise according to the eligibility or qualification of a disciple. Because it is not same for all. And Gurudev also told Guru, bona fide Guru has pure heart. So when disciple will come in front of Gurudev, or even if not come, it will be revealed to Gurudev if Krishna wills. What this disciple, what is in his mind? What are his drawbacks? What are his defects? What is his thinking? Everything Gurudev can see. Then according to that, he will advise. Gurudev told, when disciple will come, then that heart or mind of disciple will be reflected in the heart of Gurudev, and he will clearly see. And he will advise accordingly. Oh, this is the defect, this is drawing, or then you have to do this. Then that disciple can have actual progress. Otherwise, it may be something which he is unable to accept, or it will not be progressive for him or something. So, in this way, Krishna also here he is telling, accordingly to different capacities, how one can approach Krishna from where he is. Now we are unable to, like for Aga Marg, that is Gurudev, that is strong desire to serve Krishna. We are reluctant to serve Krishna, and we cannot concentrate properly. So how we will do that Smaran? That requires some. So everything is according to level. Then they understood, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also told that while working in the garden, you can also chant Harinam while working. You are chanting, not with mala. Mala you will do some rounds, fixed number, as per your time. But while working, you can always chant. And we have example how that Ramdas Prabhu of Prabhupada's disciple, he was pure devotee by this seva. Cow seva, garden seva, chanting. Pure devotee, and Prabhupada said that learned man, to learn from him what is devotion. So devotion does not depend on some memorizing some shlokas or something like this. Devotion means devotion, dedication for the service of Krishna as per the instruction of bona fide Guru. And that will give us real results. Detachment from this world, attachment to Krishna, and realization of Krishna and devotion, everything. And we have example also in Bhagavatam, Ambarish Maharaj. There it is mentioned, Ambarish Maharaj was doing all this. All limbs of devotion, all 9. Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Pada Sevan, Archan, Bandhan, Sakyam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanevedanam. Everything he was doing. And by doing that sincerely, gradually he could conquer all his desires, mind, everything. Gradually. And then he was fully fixed. And when fully fixed, then Sudarshan was always there to protect him. Athaitat apyas shaktosi kartumat yogam ashritaha sarvakama phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. If even this thou canst not do, that is to say, if thou failest in consecrating all thy actions to me, then take refuge in me, renounce all fruits of thy actions, and try to gain control over thyself. Explanation. In the first 6 chapters, Nishkama Karma Yoga has been mentioned as the means of attaining moksha or liberation. We heard that one has to do that Varna Ashram Dharma, means to do actions as per his conditioning, Satya, Raja, Tama, Guna, Kshatriya, Vaishya, all this, and regulate his life according to the instruction of Shastra. Shastra is given by Supreme Lord. So following Shastra means serving him. So doing all those actions, but without desire to enjoy the fruit. There is Sakama, means with desire to enjoy. Even that is better than not following Shastra at all. Like those who are just enjoying, they are worse than those who accepted this Varna Ashram Dharma, but they want some enjoyment. They will get purified gradually, and then they will give up that desire for enjoy, but they will only do their duty as action to be done for Supreme Lord. So that is Nishkama Karma Yoga, without desires. That will liberate you, purify your heart and liberate. In the second 6 chapters, Bhakti Yoga is mentioned as the means of attaining the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. This Bhakti Yoga is of 2 kinds. 1. Internal function of God-loving souls, otherwise known as Raga Marg. And 2. External function to acquire concentration of mind known as Vidhi Marg, Raganuga and Vaidhi Bhakti. So two kinds. The former is again divided into three kinds. Ragamarg. One, function of pure meditation, smaran. Two, that of pure dhyan, manan. And three, that of samadhi, uninterrupted smaran. It depends upon the self-realization of the devotee. It is not accessible to the worldling. So smaran means when you practice thinking of Krishna. Sometimes there is some, means you have to give effort, and sometimes there is some distraction. That is smaran. And when you are more advanced, then that is dhyan. It will be stable meditation, stable remembrance, constant. And samadhi is full absorption, total. You are not aware of anything else. Different stages according to one's eligibility. But smaran, Gurudev told, quoting Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Bhagavatam, one verse is there, where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that smaran is subservient to Shravan Kirtan. It depends on Shravan Kirtan. One has to hear about Krishna from bona fide source, realized soul or pure Shastra, and one has to repeat that, speak about Krishna as what he heard or what he read in Shastra, he has to speak. Then by this practice, he will get remembrance of Krishna, thinking of Krishna. So Shravan Kirtan is important to get smaran, and also Prabhupada in one song he wrote, Kirtan Prabhave Smarana Hoibe, Se Kale Nirjon Bhajan Sambhav. By the power of Kirtan means by the power of speaking about Krishna or singing his names, one will get smaran naturally, without artificial imagination. Then smaran has then different stages. So this is in relation to Ragamarg, because Ragamarg is done internally. Externally, those who are in Ragamarg, externally they will do chanting, Harinam. But internally they will do, you don't know what they are doing. Outside you cannot see. But they are more active than us who are doing these external services. More active. From there, transcendental plane, that Swarup, they are serving in Lila of Krishna under the guidance of Brajavasi. Different kinds of services, and whole day and night. We are not seeing outside. We think it's only sitting and doing nothing, chanting, like Rupa Goswami. So we don't see what they are doing. We are not doing much service to Krishna. We are trying to attain that purification of heart by doing all those external services. So this is not accessible to the worldling, means one who is in mundane consciousness, world consciousness. Those who are purely intelligent and are free from offenses against Vishnu and Vaishnavas can practice it. Purely intelligent. They know only one activity is right. That is devotion to Krishna. They are undeviated from that. That is pure intelligence. And are free from all offenses, all aversion to Vishnu and Vaishnavas, in Supreme Lord and his devotees, free of all other desires, offenses, everything. They are free, fully devoted to Krishna. They can practice this. As to the later, that is to say external functions, to concentrate the mind with hearing, chanting, worshipping, greeting, etc., Shravan Kirtan, Smaran, Archan, Bandhan, all these are accessible to all. Everyone can do, because we all belong to God. We are of same father, and every child has a right to call his father and to serve him. Everyone has that right. To chant his name is the most easy practice, so everyone has access to that. So for the good of both the karmins and jnanins, the principle of Bhakti Yoga is mentioned in the middle of the Gita. That is to say, in the second 6 chapters. If it is not possible for one to control the mind and senses and worship the Supreme Lord with steadfast attachment and firm faith, then Nishkama Karma Yoga, consecrated to Sri Krishna as mentioned in the first 6 chapters, is the next lower step to Bhakti Yoga. The 4 kinds of devotional practices are mentioned respectively as 4 steps in gradation in the 4 shlokas from 8 to 11. Shloka 8, we heard, speaks of single-minded devotion to Sri Krishna, standing foremost of all. Shloka 9 speaks of Abhyas Yoga as the next lower step. Shloka 10, shloka means verse, speaks of Mat Karma Param, that is to say, hearing, chanting my holy name, etc., as the next lower step. Shloka 11 speaks of Sarva Karma Palatyak, that is to say, Nishkama Karma Yoga, as the next lower step. The next lower step. It abruptly ends here. This explanation abruptly ends. Or maybe only the dot is missing, and I don't understand that it is the end of sentence and end of this explanation. So Nishkama Karma Yoga as the next lower step. So at least this one should try to do. As per his conditioning, whether he's Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra or whatever, he should do as per regulation of Shastra and for the service of Krishna, not to enjoy those fruits. Then gradually he can come upper, higher practices. So also as we heard, also when one starts devotion, already he has faith in Krishna. He starts devotion, not all disciples are in the same level. So Guru will engage each disciple according to his eligibility and also according to the necessity. If you live in some society, then according to what is necessary in that circumstance, what kind of service you will get. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyana vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagas tyaga chantir anantaram. For the knowledge of the relationship of the jiva with the Lord is superior to Abhyas Yoga. That is to say, Abhyas Yoga means mechanical practice to know Him. So one who realized already a relationship is superior to one who is practicing. But one who is practicing, I told some days back, when we gather enough Sukriti, then faith will awaken within us, that Shraddha. And when we will hear Shastra, scripture, or hear Harikatha from pure devotee, then our heart will approve of what is being spoken and will have faith. Yes, this is true. We'll have faith. Although now we did not yet realize totally that, but at the same time, our faith is also not blind. It is based on our experience that really we believe. And that belief cannot come to one who doesn't have enough Sukriti. Every jiva by nature has faith in Krishna, but now it is covered because we became averse and so much these things. So one may hear Shastra, one may hear Guru, may see Vaishnava, but he will not be able to accept because lack of Sukriti. But one who has enough Sukriti, he will be able to accept, really, sincerely he will believe, yes, this is true. What he's speaking is true and is beneficial, but he did not fully realize that. But still, this is one kind of experience. So if this faith is there, really in the heart, awakened, such a person is eligible for practicing sadhana bhakti. And sadhana bhakti is bhakti. So he will do what Gurudev will tell him. You chant this name for the satisfaction of Krishna, and he will chant, he will follow Ekadashi, he will follow all these things for the service of Krishna. Although now he is not fully realized in his relation with Krishna, but also not fully blind, not totally there. So it is not black and white, but it is also different. One sadhaka who is practicing under the guidance of Guru and Shastra with faith, it is true, it is different than when he will get full realization of that relation, and naturally he will want to serve and he will see, have darshan and everything. But we have to do from where we are. So if one is realized soul, that is better than practitioner, Abhyas Yoga, Sadhak and Siddha. And next, concentration coupled with this knowledge is better than dry abstract knowledge of Brahman, and renunciation of all fruits of actions is better than concentration which shuns all actions, stops all actions. After such surrender of fruits of action, Bhakti Yoga becomes ensured and peace or eternal bliss is then attained. Here, explanation. To be more explicit, the shloka means this. O Arjuna, Bhakti Yoga is the means of attaining Nirupadik Prem, unalloyed love. When we are praying to Shiva with that pranam mantra by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there we say Nirupadik Prem. You give me Nirupadik Prem. What is Nirupadik Prem? Upadi means some acquired identity, not real identity. We are who we are eternally, eternal servant of Krishna. But when we become aware, then we acquire some false egos. I am man, I am woman, I am Slovenian, I am these all things we get. That is upadi. So we have to give up all these upadis, sarvopadi vinirmuktam. We have to be totally free from all these false egos, gross and subtle, and understand that we belong to Krishna, tat paratana nirmalam. Then when with this understanding, or with this faith, or if you are realized soul, with this realization, if you do service of Krishna, that will be bhakti. So even if someone understands this and accepts on faith naturally from the heart, he can do sadhana bhakti. His bhakti will not be bhava bhakti or prema bhakti, but will be sadhana bhakti. By doing this sadhana bhakti, gradually he can get that prema, nirupadik prem, unalloyed love. This bhakti yoga is of two kinds, and their twofold functions are mentioned in the previous shloka. Knowledge of God is superior to abhyas. Dhyan, which is the result of abhyas, is superior to gyan, or dry wisdom, because contemplation about my reality facilitates dhyan. So if one already has knowledge of God, that is superior to one who is practicing to realize about God. And dhyan, that is meditation, which is the result of abhyas, is superior to gyan, or dry wisdom, like only having some theoretical knowledge. Because contemplation about my reality facilitates dhyan. Dhyan means meditation. When meditation on me becomes steady and complete, thirst for celestial enjoyment, not this worldly enjoyment. We are eating nice food or having a relation with girls or men, all this sense gratification in this world. We are enjoying, or different kinds. But this is nothing in comparison to what they are enjoying in heavenly planets, celestial, Indra and those. This is nothing in comparison, and there is no reaction there also. Here we get reaction, but there for enjoyment you don't get any reaction. When Urvashi, heavenly, that girl, she wanted to be with Arjuna. I want to be with you. Then Arjuna said, no, there is reaction to this type of like enjoying. Then he said, no, in this world, yes, but in our place there is no reaction. So you be with me. You don't hesitate, anything. And they are much more beautiful than these girls in this world. And their enjoyment lasts for a long time. But still Arjuna did not accept. Why? Because he has connection with Krishna, actual connection. We may say I am a devotee, but like outwardly as some pride, but how much really I have dedicated, connected to Krishna, that Krishna knows. So he can easily make some arrangement to show where you are at. He knows everything. We cannot deceive him. So they thirst for celestial enjoyment, not this worldly enjoyment, celestial enjoyment, like Arjuna. He refused Urvashi. But Vishwamitra could not. He was a great yogi. But Menaka, heavenly girl, came and he was with her. But Arjuna rejected that proposal. And she said there is no reaction there. So then you can imagine what kind of pleasure is there, celestial pleasure. But one who has contemplation on God, his thirst for celestial pleasure or even moksha disappears. Moksha is even superior happiness. But there are no waves of bliss there. That is why devotees don't accept. There is no service of Krishna. Only static bliss. So the surrender of all fruits of actions and even of moksha is superior to dhyan. Vrita's prayer to Supreme Lord is, Vritasur, tomorrow we will hear more detail, today there is no time. O the fountainhead of all glories, I do not crave for Brahma Loka, Indra Loka, suzerainty of the worlds. Sovereignty, here some other word is given. Kingship of the nether worlds, fulfillment of asceticism, and even final beatitude or anything else. Save and accept thee. I want only your service. Shanti or cessation of sensuous pleasures is attained, and a corresponding kuparati or attachment to my sensuous gratification arises, when the formidable desires for enjoyment and renunciations are shunned by all means. Tomorrow we will hear in more detail this point here of Britasur. It is very important. Gurudev used to explain this Vritrasur's pastime and about his prayers. Gurudev said repeatedly you have to meditate on those prayers of Vritrasur. Very important. And we have example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was chanting Harinam. Then first that prostitute came and was trying to seduce. Then Haridas Thakur said, yes, after I finish my rounds, then I will fulfill your desires. But it never happened. Then she was purified. He did not fall down because he had real connection, real bliss. He rescued her also. Not that he fell down, he uplifted her to his platform. And later on also Maya Devi came. That is not some prostitute. That is Maya personified. All 14 worlds, enjoyment, Brahmalok, Svarga, everything, personified Maya, offering all her attraction and enjoyment, everything, she came in front of Haridas Thakur. And her smell was going in all directions. And she was doing different mudras and postures and everything. A nice dress and all. And she said, no girl can resist you, O Vaishnava Thakur. No girl. And she was praising him. And she said, sadhus, they are merciful to poor and like asked, so you please fulfill my desire. Then Haridas Thakur said, yes, I will fulfill your desire after I finish my rounds. You wait, you hear and you wait. Then again, it didn't happen. Then Maya Devi, after 3 days, she surrendered to him. And she also got initiation from Haridas Thakur. So Gurudev told, we are chanting Harinam and Haridas Thakur also chanting Harinam. We are pulling beads and we are saying same mantra. But it is difference also about Haridas Thakur's chanting without offense for Krishna's satisfaction and tasting that bliss, and our chanting is difference. And also there would be difference if we would be in such that such offers would come to us from such a beautiful prostitute, and like Maya, there it is written, no any rishi munis, they cannot resist. But Haridas Thakur is there. So example is there, and we can achieve. If we are sincerely practicing, then gradually we can get that is highest type of bliss, only that can fulfill us. So about this Vritasura, it is important. We'll hear tomorrow.